Greetings, I'm your narrator, Wayne Harper. Friday, February 21st, the Harrisburg Farm Show main exhibition arena. At about $1 per goose bump, the girls once again raise over $10,000 for the Lancaster County chapter of the Spina Bifida Foundation. The fundraiser is just a small part of the annual Motorama Speed Show. The micro sprint heats qualify one car. That's what happens when you have a 68-car field and 15 feature starting positions. Mike Miller hits the wall before dumping in feature competition. Here, Mike Dicely of Lewisberry in his Hyper Honda Green number 44 holds off one of many classic indoor challenges of Kevin Nouse. Micro Sprint superstar Dicely led every lap for his first Motorama win. Nouse held on for second. The celebrity feature gets greened with Ronnie Grindstaff leading over Joey Borich and Jeff Rohrbaugh. But watch the 27 of Smokey Snellbaker. As the kids step on their own and each other's, the Silver Fox goes from 4th position to his 3rd Motorama win. The Dover resident's the only driver to have more than a single win in the 14-year history of the Slugfest.
Smoke, what a run. Well, you ever hear that song, It Feels Like the First Time, you know, and every win feels like the first time to me. I'm just so grateful. I just got to thank God for everything, for letting me have the health, for giving me the gift to be a half-ass race car driver, and I just love it. I mean, it's only by God's grace that I'm here today.
February 22nd, one day after Motorama, the outdoor season gets underway at the short half-mile Lincoln Speedway near Hanover. 18 sprinters and a good crowd are on hand in fairly reasonable but windy weather. Wild Bill Bryan clips fast Freddie Raymer. Both will run the feature. The first 12 starters drew for position. Chris Ace leads from the pole. This lasted until turn 2. That's Billy Pouch in the dominant position. No serious damage, but this could take a while. Donnie Kreitz was shuffled forward by the incident and leads as the feature gets going. Kevin Gobrecht was moving up until taking an interesting detour on a restart. Kevin was sent to the rear. Salfordville's Fred Raymer and the Hamilton J&J racer has come from the 10th starting spot to 2nd and is challenging Kreitz for the lead. On the 12th lap, Donnie's turquoise racer pushed a little in turn 1, and Raymer ducks to the inside for the $2,500. Kreitz finished 2nd.
Fast Freddy, 3rd straight opening day win, and we know you love Lincoln Speedway.
Yeah, you know, they worked hard to get this one in. Everybody thought they wouldn't get it in, but they told us down in Florida if there was a chance they'd get it in. Fred had the track for the weather conditions. He had it real good. I mean, as good as you can expect, and we were able to pass a little bit, but we got a lot of breaks.
Well, you had an exciting feature. You had an exciting day all around. It all started with a loop in the heat there, and I bet you were talking to yourself at that time.
Yeah, you know, I screwed up. It was all my fault, and I ended up costing Bill Bryan. But I went back out, and my car felt so good in the heat race, and I just tried to do too much with it and ended up turning around and wrecking Billy. And then in the feature, I figured, you know, we were pretty good, and we got real lucky. I'll tell you, I thought Donnie was going to win after that restart because he don't make many mistakes, and his car pushed a little up there in 1 and 2, and I was lucky enough to get around him.
February 23rd, 22 sprinters are at Hagerstown, Maryland. Donnie Kreitz again leads the feature, this time until the 18th lap. Mike Wagner and Frankie Kerr tango in turn 1 with Wagner backing into the wall and Kerr spinning donuts right in the racing group. Kerr eventually had to hit someone, and it's leader Kreitz. Donnie always keeps his cool. The Walt Dyer Masonry 461 of Mont Alto's Lance DeWeese inherited the lead and kept a big one until the final lap. Fighting a miss in his engine, Lance gets slowed behind a lapped car as the number 1 of 2nd place Billy Pouch makes up a lot of ground. But Lance pulls it back together for the $3,000 win.
I tell you what, first of all, this race belonged to Donnie Kreitz. He was operating pretty good. He had some misfortune there, getting tangled up with that lap car. Yeah, that's all part of racing. We had motor problems all day long in the feature. It kept shutting off. Those last 5 laps, she wouldn't even run at all. She kept shutting off in the middle turns, and I mean, it wouldn't run at all. I was just lucky enough to hold on.
Todd Schaefer is sporting the Florida sunburn he got while racing at East Bay. Doctors told Todd to take 5 weeks off, but Todd knows his best medicine would be an early season win.
It was pretty bad and got hot in a hurry, but I was lucky. I had good suit on, a design 500 suit, and just had some burns on my feet and hands, and my face was burnt pretty bad where it come up under my helmet, but it's healing. I got one bad burn on my foot that's healing a little slow, but it's coming.
March 2nd, Williams Grove. 34 sprinters filled the pits, with the top 12 drawing for exact starting spots. This is much better than a heads-up start, as it offers the paying half-frozen fans a much better chance of an exciting feature. Mike Wagner, number 55, leads until Rod George, number 5, takes command off turn 2. Both Mike and Rod are looking for their first Grove win. As the race nears halfway, 6th place starter Fred Raymer has moved into second and challenges leader George. Raymer pulled alongside of George, but cannot get past the Western PA racer.
George down low, Raymer tries the outside again off turn number 4.
The 77 of Fast Freddy continued to tail Rapid Rod until lap 18, when Dan Dietrich, out of retirement again, rolled after contact with Todd Schaefer. The restart. Fast Freddy knows what to do.
Comes the 77, George a little bit sideways. Fred Raymer in the middle of the racetrack. Rod George down low. Raymer's got the lead.
With 3 laps to go, Kevin Gobrecht begins a series of early season spills while battling Bill Bryan through turn 4. It's not over yet. Lance DeWeese has moved into second. Lance makes an inside challenge coming around for the white flag, but Raymer, suffering from the flu, is home first for the $3,000 over DeWeese and George. March 8th, Lincoln. Wayne Frank is a new one to us and a beautiful sprinter, number 66. Wayne is one of 18 sprinters pit side today. Have we seen this race before? Donnie Kreitz started on the pole, but Fred Raymer comes from 10th to run him down. Here's the winning pass, as it looks like the Hamilton team is hooked up this year.
Raymer on the top side, drives around the 69 of Kreitz. And into the...
Kevin Gobrecht appeared to be experimenting with different grooves. The one he tried on the final lap was a disaster. Fast Freddy takes the checkered for 2 in a row here at Lincoln. The 1996 Port Royal Rookie of the Year is Vaughn McGee. Here McGee puts his number 1 half through the first turn at Williams Grove, as the big pit count of 37 comes as a relief to many on March the 9th. More third turn problems for the Dietrich racer, as piloted this week by Jamie Steffi.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime at Williams Grove Speedway, and the green flag.
Raymer drew the pole, but the race was saved for the fans when Billy Pouch in the Zemco number 1 drew the outside front row position. Pouchy crossed up on the start, and Raymer took the lead and held it for 18 laps.
We work on lap number 18. Raymer tries the inside once again. Pouch tries to get a run around the top. Pouch ducks low now and takes the lead.
It's not easy to pass Fast Freddy Raymer, but the kid from Frenchtown, New Jersey works lap traffic to perfection for his first win of the season.
What happened at the start, Billy? We saw you get a little bit out of shape. Just what caused it?
Well, I was up on a slick part of the track there, and I tried to pick up the start a little before Fred did, and I got a nice jump, but then coming out of 4, I just pushed it too hard, and the car winged down on the left rear and got me loose, and it could have been bad. I'm glad it worked out. Nobody got caught up in it.
Non-stop. That was an unusual occurrence on a daytime surface.
Yeah, I think the way the track was today, it was kind of had to be pretty good with it. You know, I mean, it was no kind of track that you could really pass that easy on.
looked like you really found the bottom in the lap traffic in the late stages. You were just driving underneath them and sliding up in front of them in the late going. Looked real good.
Well, I figure when you're leading like that, you know, I mean, I was just timing everything kind of right, so when I did slide up, it was a clean slide on. But it was the only way you could really get anybody. You slowed up too much to race with them like Fred was doing there, and it cost you. You lost all your momentum.
March 15th, a good field of 27 sprinters are at Lincoln. Kevin Gobrecht is upside down for the third weekend in a row. The first lap of the feature. Donnie Kreitz leads off of the front row as it's a tight squeeze down the backstretch. Brian Monteith in the loose stuff, bringing out the red midway through the 25-lapper. The restart. Lance DeWeese, who by the luck of the draw shared the front row starting position with Kreitz, makes his move. Chalk up win number 2 on the season for Lance. March 16th, 27 sprinters are pit side. Hometown Charger Brian Paulus ran with the World of Outlaw Tour in '96. Today the number 28 is back home in Mechanicsburg and starting on the pole. But here comes the 12 of Kevin Gobrecht. Just as it looked like the third place starter would make the pass, the rubber band stretched. And then Kevin lost the second position to Fred Raymer, who has come all the way from 11th starting spot. Paulus watched a lot of features won from the pole last year, but can he hold off the fast advancing 77 for his first ever 4:10 win? With a lap and a half to go, take it, Bruce.
Last lap coming up for the leader this time around. Last lap for Brian Paulus. Fred Raymer makes a bid on the bottom. Paulus holds him off. A half lap left for Brian Paulus. Checkered flag will be out this time. Paulus on the inside. Raymer to the outside. Brian Paulus will win it. Raymer gets second. Chris Hayes is third.
How's it feel?
Oh, I tell you what, I was so scared to death about the last 3 laps. I saw noses coming underneath me. I was like, I just got to hold on to this thing and not get on my lid.
Well, did you see that 77 nose coming underneath you there, I guess, with a lap to go?
Well, I remember seeing Kevin's nose go underneath me. Then I saw Fred's, and I thought to myself, oh, man, is this race over yet?
Well, it is now. Here's a checkered flag to prove it. That's from Bulls of Newchester.
Mark Richard, number 5, is going to have a better year than last as he leads a quality field of 20 sprinters at the Port Royal opener until lap 7, when Billy the Kid makes his move in lap traffic. The Gary Beam-owned Henchcraft number 88 of Millerstown's Todd Schaefer is flying. The 9th place starter makes the winning pass on lap 12 as Todd completes his recovery from burns, collecting $2,200 from the Newport management.
First off, congratulations. Boy, you had to work your way up through the field, and boy, you really learned how to dispose of lap traffic.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Tommy. We were down at the race shop last night till about midnight. We've been so-so all year, but I just haven't felt comfortable in entry. And Jimmy Russell and I walked up in the corner there, and he said there was a day where we'd run the backside, and I didn't run it all the time, but when I came to somebody that I had to go around, I was good. I'll tell you what, this one goes to the people that put the money in, and my crew. I want to thank, I got Matt Anderson that works at the shop all the time, and Russell and all the rest of the guys. This one's for them because they made it easy for me. I mean, it never bicycled, it just was perfect. Okay, and I want to thank all the fans and even people that really aren't Todd Schaefer fans. I was laying on my back for 3 weeks at home, and every day when the mail would come and I go through the cards, it meant a lot to know people were thinking of me.
March 17th, Kevin Gobrecht leads the feature at Lincoln. 26 sprinters are pit side. With 2 laps to go, the 12 of Gobrecht continues the lead. But 46-year-old Mifflintown native Keith Kaufman has brought the Warren Johnson-owned United Express Lines number U2 east. Keith comes fourth from 12th starting spot, taking the lead while passing under the white flag. Keith was tossed from the apple rod in favor of Gobrecht, and this $2,500 win has to feel good.
Final two turns, a three-car race for second now. Your winner is going to be the U2 of Keith Kaufman. Keith, first and foremost, welcome back to Lincoln Speedway.
Yeah, it's good to be here like this.
What a run. It had to be exciting from your seat.
It's always a good race. You beat your way up from the rear and win the thing, you know. It's a good race.
That was great racing the whole way through. You looked like you were fading for a while.
Well, you get in a hurry and, you know, run them guys down, and then you light the tires up a little bit. You got to settle back down and get in the rhythm and get in your groove, and you can catch them back up, you know, and it's hard to get the head and the foot working together.
After Lincoln, we head to the other side of Pickletown and the Silver Spring opener, where the weather is so cold the fans should be paid to sit through it. Dave Newman gets over the tire of Chris Reed. Rich Eichelberger from York Springs and his York Excavating number 8 wins out in a back-and-forth duel with the number 32 of George Ryden. Howie Locke, number 12, catches up with Ike but cannot pass. It's Eichelberger's 32nd career Silver Spring win, but his first in 2 seasons.
On the high side once again. That's where you like to race. Yeah, well, it was working good. We went to work with our motor program this year. Skip Hammer and his son Michael, they worked all winter just developing some motors. We tried some new cams, and boy, it's paying off. That girl really rips there. To get this one tonight, you had to make the winning pass not once, but twice. You had to get by riding twice tonight. Yeah, I know. I sort of screwed up there. I went, after we passed him, I was going to try the middle a little bit, and I hit a hole up there, and it was sort of slid out on us, and oh, no. But it was good enough. I knew once we got racing we could go. But then I saw Howie. I guess Howie kept sticking his nose under there, and I thought, man, we're going to race like this, you know, the whole rest of the night. You just don't get an easy one here at the Springs. I mean, you got to work for them. That's what makes it all the better.
And they have a better idea up at Niagara Falls, where the Can-Am 3/4 midgets race in the warmth of the indoors during the winter so that the fans can actually enjoy it. Driver Gary Morton may not be enjoying his Saturday night. Trey Hoddix has some broken suspension parts. Now Trey has some more broken parts. New Jersey's Joe Payne Jr. in the red car leads the feature and begins to deal with lap traffic. Joe's biggest threat aft side came from Mark Summit, but Mark would soon be involved in a tangle, allowing Joe his second straight win inside the heated Niagara Falls Convention Center. March 18th, Ed Lynch will be the star today at Williams Grove. 33 sprinters are on hand. The green is out for the first of 3 heat races.
Takes the middle through turn number 1. Judy Bates up on 2 wheels, and
The G-Man can't believe it either. Lap 6 of the feature. Number 2L, Ed Lynch takes the first position from Jamie Steffi with this outside move in turn 4. With just 4 laps to go and with a large lead, Ed makes this bad move among lap traffic. Fred Raymer, who started 12th, has no problem accepting his $3,000 windfall and makes an understatement in victory lane.
I tell you, Pennsylvania race fans are definitely hardcore because they've been sitting out in the coldest last month, and we're fortunate to have the fans we do because they definitely support our racing.
36 358 sprints take the green for their first warm-up of the season, and it doesn't take long. Dean Bush, Tracy Templin, plus all the Bear Hill spectators are A-OK.
comes out for a car stopped on the front stretch, and also a...
Tom Leach climbs the inside wall after shedding a wing part. Dave Hammond climbs the outside rail to avoid a spinning Doug Esch. Donnie Condren. Mike Lehman from Mannheim in the Bill Henderson number 59 started on the pole in today's 3:58 opener, but his win was not quite as easy as it looked.
We broke the motor there. That last lap coming down the backstretch, it was really rattling pretty bad. I thought, we're going to run it.
I guess so when you're that close. As hard as you were running, and no wonder it broke. You were just flying today.
Yeah, I was watching oil pressure, and it was kind of doing a little bit of funny stuff. I thought, man, I started taking it easy, and my dad told me Livey was catching me, so I thought, these last 5 laps, we're just going to run and see what happens.
Well, you lost your checkered flag. Looks like your daughter took it away already. That's courtesy of Bulls of Newchester. Winning at Williams-Grove's getting to be a habit with you. I'll never forget the first time you won. Man, you were in tears in victory lane. Now it's kind of old hat.
Well, I don't know if it's old hat or not, but yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a neat deal. I like racing here. I guess we'll be here all year and have a good time here.
Larry Jackson, number 3, takes the lead from Bob Fantasy as the Super Sportsman take to the Grove on March 28th. Later in the 20-lap feature, Jackson is losing his tires, and Fantasy, who hails from Dauphin, retakes the lead for his 4th career Williams Grove win in the Saturn number 1.
Yeah, well, I knew we were going to have a tough time of it with Larry there, and I think he probably had a brake problem. They were suffering with a brake problem all night long, and you know, if it wouldn't have been for his problems, I don't know if I'd have caught him. So I just want to thank my whole crew. They changed the whole rear end right before the feature. In the heat race, our shifter fell apart, and all the gear oil came out of the rear, and we burned up our rear. So we had to put a new rear in for the feature, and I just want to thank my whole entire crew, because without them, I wouldn't be here.
In the sprints, Ed Lynch Jr. again set the pace until engine problems on lap 9. Todd Schaefer outran Fred Raymer and everyone else to the checkered flag for his 93rd career sprint car win. March 29th, Jamie Steffi, number 8, grabs the lead at the start of the feature event. The 5th lap. Steffi gets a little out of shape. Now Dave Ely leads in his number 77. And soon Fred Raymer and Kevin Gobrecht continue their rivalry for the 2nd position.
Raymer and Gobrecht and Fred Raymer in the 2nd. Gobrecht around the outside, moves back into 2nd. Raymer pulls a slingshot. Now he's in 2nd.
Fred Raymer is first past Ely and into the lead on lap 9.
And he can't hold it. Ely and Raymer side by side with Gobrecht right behind. Up the turn, Fred Raymer, your new leader.
With 2 laps to go, Raymer leads Gobrecht into exciting Lincoln lap traffic. Donnie Kreitz from Sinking Spring, driving his Kreitz Speed Shop number 69, need not be too surprised, inheriting his 20th career Lincoln win and $2,500.
We've said it many times this year. Probably looked pretty exciting from your seat.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I was a little bit too close to that.
That was close. You know, sometimes you eat the bear, sometimes the bear eats you. You've been lucky before, but you've lost some like that, too. That happens.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, we'll just take them any way we can get them, because we still had to work for this one. You know, we missed the inversion in the heat. We had to start 14th. I think the last 3 races we ran, we started like 22nd at the Grove last week and 20th last night and 14th tonight. And every night we were coming, you know, towards the front, but we're just starting back too far and screwing up in the heat races.
I was going to ask, you missed the inversion. Any reason for it, or just fast cars?
Yeah, I'm just not fast enough, just not doing the right things to the car and getting it where it drives real nice. I just had the car all screwed up in the heat race and tweaked on it a little for the feature and just happened to guess right. The car was working real good.
Of course, your first actual win here this year, but you finished 2nd a whole bunch of times. So you've been up at the front all season long.
Yeah, the car's taken a liking to this track for some reason, and Fred always just prepares a great track, Fred Putney. He's given us great tracks to run on all year. I mean, you know, coming up through, I'm sure the fans could see, you know, you could go inside, outside, all around. It was a great race for the lead, you know, up till that accident happened, and it's just a great track.
April 4th, No more Apple turnover jokes for New Oxford's Kevin Gobrecht after his $5,000 win in Williams Grove's Jack Gunn Memorial. Kevin set fast time, started 4th, and took the lead from Jeff Shepard. Even more impressive is the G-Man's win the next night, defeating the master of the Lincoln high-low slide job, Fred Raymer, at his own game.
Can't hold it now. Raymer to the inside with a slingshot, and Gobrecht gets it back. Gobrecht hanging on to the race lead. Raymer trying to...
Oh, yeah, last night was a big race, but tonight the action was close. And I think this means more to us guys winning down here with a close battle with Fred like that. This is a great win.
Well, we knew if it'd be the other way around, Fred would say that's exactly the way he likes it, and I'm sure it is for you, too.
Oh, yeah, you know, we had that little incident last week, and me and Fred, you know, we're friends. We're going to continue to be friends, and we, you know, it's racing hard. You know, it shows you race hard today, and, you know, luckily we pulled through it, and then we won, and we both finished this time, and, you know, that's what great racing at Lincoln's all about.
Meanwhile, across Pickletown, Leroy Martin from Denver blasts off the pole at Silver Spring and pulls the Dietrich & Sons number 17 into victory lane 14 minutes later.
It's been a while, buddy.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. It's great to be here in victory lane now.
Career win number 3. I think you have this car figured out now.
Well, I hope so. I hope this keeps continuing.
Leroy, when was the last time we talked to you in victory lane here at the Spring?
Probably was about 3 years ago.
ARDC may not have the most balanced field, but there always seems to be a great battle for the lead. Young racers Ed Steinley and Mark Freeland, number 4, have both come from several rows back to the front of the feature as the midgets open their season tonight at the Spring. Jim Jackson hits the 4th turn wall. The pole sitter was uninjured in the tumble. Where would we be without them? A salute to the wreckers and push trucks. Watch as Freeland in the number 4 and Steinley in the 6, who is the defending American Racing Drivers Club champion, exchange the feature lead. Now Brian Seidel in number 42 is a close 3rd, and it's a 3-way race for the lead. On the 20th lap, Freeland spun after hooking Seidel's front bumper. This set up a scary homestretch impact. John Heidenreich suffered a scary head injury, which fortunately was not serious. Freeland escaped from his overturned racer without injury. Steinley of McVaytown goes on to talk about his duel with Freeland in victory lane.
I knew if I didn't know how close he was, and he could buy me there. I thought, boy, I thought I was really going to struggle to buy him. I finally got back by him there. Then the red came out, but we had to go put on a good show there. If he wouldn't have gotten that little miss up there, then I know Brian Seidel was back there, and I knew they said he was coming, so we just buckled down there. I was glad to finish the race. I was glad we won it this way.
One of the lesser-known success stories in Central PA is the Trailway Speedway on Armin Hostetter's plantation near Hanover. The micro sprints headline the weekly Friday night card here, along with the 8-cylinder Thunder cars. Here's some samples of the thrills and spills as dished out by the micros here at the TW. The early season Sunday afternoon schedule winds up on April 9th with the feature conducted in a drizzle. Maryland's Brad McClellan, number 6, works the inside past Donnie Hendershot into the lead on lap 12 and on to his 2nd win of the young season here at Trailway. April 11th, 31 sprints are at Williams Grove. A rough start for Len Thompson, who is out for the night. Jeff Thompson, no relation to Len, but also in the number 10, is having a better night, leading the feature for the first 7 laps. Donnie Kreitz's lead lasts only 6 laps. Jim Shuttlesworth has given the Maryland Terrapin, Jeff Shepard, the ride in his sprint car number 41 with good results. Jeff's been traveling in recent years, and it's great to have him back home on the circuit.
Jeff, you've always been fearless at this racetrack, and you've always been good on the top. But tonight there was just no stopping you up there. I mean, you just seemed to find a line that you liked right up near the fence, and you looked good.
Well, I'll tell you, that was really the only place to run, because early in the race I was low and them guys were getting away from me. And like you said, I spent a lot of years here and a lot of heartache, and it's about time it's starting to pay off. And if you're going to win here at Williams Grove, it just seems like you got to get on the top and just get going. No matter how close the guardrail gets, if you hit it, you hit it. If you don't, you're going to win, you know, if you're fast. And it worked out for us tonight.
The United Racing Club Sprinters and Hagerstown Speedway celebrate their 50th birthday together on April 13th. Sean Michael, number 88 from Allentown, leads every lap of the traveling club's opener. No small feat over a 30-car field, which includes Raymer and DeWeese.
I tell you, just ran away in devastating performances, hiding from the field. I know it's got to feel good to win that first race in that 50th anniversary season.
Well, it feels good. You know, every time Raymer came in so far last year, he spanked us. And so I wanted to win this one pretty bad. And I got to thank Pat Palladino, my crew, Tommy, and C&B Mushrooms, Chubby, Carl Hart's Furniture, Donat Motors, Johnson Salt Farms. I mean, without them, it wouldn't be possible.
April 18th, Jess Thomas is the first to lose control on a slick Williams Grove first turn. Fred Raymer and Alan Cole crash into Jess, but all three will return to competition later tonight. Jeff Thompson, number 10, leads, hoping for his first feature win. Billy Pouch in pursuit. Brian Gobrecht has no damage and rejoins the rear. On the 11th lap, Pouchy, who started 13th, completes his charge to the front. Thompson makes a comeback, but Billy the Kid has the fast groove.
Billy does it again, and 3 and 4. Billy Pouch slides into the lead. Jeff Thompson racing with him.
And now here comes Lance DeWeese from 11th starting spot, also past Thompson into second. The Brian Gobrecht Thrill Show continues before becoming the Brothers Gobrecht Thrill Show. Both Brian and Kevin are out for the night. The restart with 2 laps to go and problems for the number 1 of Pouch. Lance DeWeese's 30th career Williams Grove win is worth $3,000. Fast Freddy's biggest fan at Lincoln on April 19th. Indeed, Raymer came from the 13th starting spot here to challenge leader and pole sitter Tim Kuhn with 5 laps to go. But wait, it's checkered flag time, and the $2 car of Mount Holly's self-financed Tim Kuhn is still in front for his first Central PA win.
This isn't one of those really big dollar teams. I mean, you guys scrape and get it together and get out to the races, and you always do well every time.
Yeah, well, we kind of pick and choose and try and go where we can make some money and keep this thing going. I have hardly no sponsorship. Tracy and Freddie, these guys here, they're my mechanics, and they also put money in the car. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing this, I think.
The Susquehanna opener on April 20th. Cars has the stars here. Jimmy Stitzel and Tracy Templin will experience highs and lows, both negatively. Here, Jimmy gets high over the guardrail after tangling wheels with Brian Brittingham. Tracy Templin is on the bottom of Jack Helgett during tough qualifying with 35 cars sprint Susky side. Jeremy Trout, 33, leads the feature with Mike Lehman in close pursuit. On the 14th lap, Trout struggles on the inside of a lapped car, and Lehman gets a bite up high. Trout tries to come back, but it will be the defending champ's 13th career cars win. Here's Mike with missed cars. Williams Grove, April 25th. 33 sprinters fight to qualify. Craig Eschenauer is a DNQ. Broken steering. Yes, stuff happens to the best. Lance DeWeese hooks the cushion on the first lap of the feature. Cliff Bryan leads in search of his first Grove win. Rod George, who makes the weekly 3-hour drive from Kittanning, driving the red-colored Baumberger-owned Penn Motorsports number 5, is also looking for his first Grove win. Here, Rod moves under Alan Cole into second position on the 22nd lap. And still in the same lap, also races under a bobbling Cliff Bryan into the lead. Rod clips a full 10 seconds off the Williams Grove 25-lap record in his winning run.
You look about as cool as you can possibly be. Mr. Rod George, ladies and gentlemen. Now the smiles come out. Hey, take it right now. Checkered flag from Williams Grove Speedway. You get to keep that one.
This is definitely a highlight. I've been out here since third season now, and I thought it was never going to come, but this car owner I have right now and everything's really the best ride I've ever had, and I know this is the first win for them here, so that made it all that much sweeter.
Jesse Wentz, number 2W, swaps the Lincoln lead with Bill Bryan on April 26th. Jesse reaffirms his lead position as Bryan now deals with the 41 of Jeff Shepard. Four laps to go. Fred Raymer, who had to restart on the rear after a lap 3 flat tire, accomplishes the near impossible. It's Fast Freddy's 150th sprint car win. 36 358 sprints have joined the 25 410 sprints for a full pit tonight. Brian Allman makes his Lincoln debut. Tom Leach does not qualify. Dave Hammond will walk away from the big one. Just your typical 4-car Lincoln battle for first. Judd Shepard, number 1, Bill Case, number 9, Del Hammaker, number 66, and Greg Libby, 119. Hammaker and his Hammaker Machine Shop Mac Tools sponsored racer, having started 9th, takes command on the 8th lap. The Hummelstown native picks up his first win of the season, as the small block dominator Mike Lehman comes from deep in the pack for a 4th place finish.
Good run, buddy. You were fast tonight.
We beat Mike Lehman. How do you like that, huh?
That's the story of the year so far.
Well, I guess, you know, probably now we'll be cheating since we won. They were tough on Mike. Everybody said he was cheating, you know. And we fell into his game, you know. We started to try to beat him, and we got way off. We went back to our game, and it went good.
April 27th, the Napa Super Sportsmen are on the red clay of Susquehanna. Veteran racer Bing Metz leads in number 11. Here comes the family Ford Mercury W100 radio number 59 of Steve Wilbur into the lead all the way from the 11th starting spot. We have a yellow for a tangle in turn 1. The restart. Wilbur drifts a little high on the rain-dampened surface as the number 1 of Terry Leininger takes the coveted number 1 spot. A couple laps later, Terry drifts high, and Newville's Wilbur comes out on top in the final lead change.
Yeah, it was close. Terry ran good. I thought I blew it there on that one restart when he got by, but we got him back. It was real weird right along the wall there. It was a little wet, and that's how he got me, and that's how I got him back. So I guess we're even.
Lance DeWeese drew the outside pole before leading every lap of the sprint feature, although Fred Raymer, 77, caught up and kept Lance honest through the final laps. April 30th, East Windsor Speedway is in New Jersey, where it's illegal to have our eggs served dippy at the diner. A full field worked their sprinters to Jersey specs, with Fred Raymer leading every lap. May 2nd, Judy Bates was a micro-sprint superstar, and she will settle for nothing less in her full sprint career, now entering its 2nd year. However, tonight, Judy fails to qualify as the All-Stars bring 44 sprints to Williams Grove. All-Star Chad Kemena is another DNQ. Another All-Star, Terry McCarroll, in the canary-colored car, leads for 16 laps in hopes of giving his club their first Grove win. But Todd Schaefer is faster. Todd had to dodge a flipping Frankie Kerr with 2 laps to go. Billy Pouch is now running 2nd, and the restart gives the kid his chance, but Mr. Excitement has something to say.
I really wanted to win an all-star race. When I got burnt in Florida, it was at an all-star race, and I've never been injured where too many, like the all-stars, outlaws, whatever, seem like they really care or whatever, but the All-Stars called pretty much on a daily basis and helped me out in other ways, and I told them we'd support them where we could, and it's a heck of an organization. I'd like to thank them for putting this deal together, and I'm happy to be here on the front stretch.
May 3rd, 45 sprinters at Lincoln. The All-Star program proceeded smoothly until the B main. That's Danny Coggeshell, also known as the Unabomber, exploding in turn 2. The restart. Todd Gracie tosses parts.
Again on turn 2.
In the feature, Terry McCarl was the first out. In what many would call the race of the year, 17-year-old All-Star driving sensation Tyler Walker, number 35, and our own Lance DeWeese swapped the lead frequently for the first 37 of 40 laps.
Try to come back, he can't do it. Tyler Walker. Then Tim Schaefer.
The crowd is going wild, at least by sprint fan standards. The final lap, Billy Pouch again, blasting by Tyler into second and gaining on DeWeese, but the 461 hangs on for the $4,000 win. The All-Stars wrap up their swing at Selin's Grove on May 4th, where Kevin Gobrecht, number 12, leads until getting squirrely on the front stretch. Keith Kaufman is right there to take advantage of the fourth lap bobble. Keith is now the permanent driver of the U2 and celebrates by leading the rest of the way for the $4,000 payday. Also on May 4th, we visit the USAC Sprints, 19 cars strong on the super-fast paved half-mile Winchester, Indiana Speedway. Winchester was the only one of the several scheduled USAC shows to make it into the books this weekend because of the Midwest rains. Asphalt specialization is haunting USAC, making it difficult to fill the paved track fields, as the dirt sprinters feel they are not competitive. Chet Phillip in the standards testing labs number 77 followed the 4 of Brian Tyler for 8 laps before shooting underneath down the back chute. Here's Brian from Speedway, Indiana, after making the team $5,000 richer. May 10th, Lincoln, Kevin Gobrecht. Cancellations at Port and Selinsgrove have allowed Lincoln 30 sprinters. Brian Gobrecht suffered some burns on his feet after losing a final lap last qualifying spot duel with Judy Bates during a heat race. Tempers also flared. A tango in the feature bounces Cliff Bryant and also involved Fred Raymer. Tim Kuhn, winner here a couple of weeks ago, is not above putting another driver into the car to manipulate the pole. Joey Allen led for just 3 laps. Chris Aish, who started 9th, winless since Selinsgrove's opener this year, moves the Miller Brothers Chevrolet E&G Classic 17 past on the outside. Chris stayed out in front for a $2,500 win.
With all of these weather outs at the other racetracks, man, all the big guns are here.
Well, yeah, you know, that even makes it even all the better, you know, when all these guys are here. You know, of course they have to start back, which doesn't help their effort much, but, you know, we're really happy that we won tonight. Our wins have been few and far between, and, you know, maybe we're on to something here. I don't know.
Fresh out of the micros, pole sitter Doug Esch spins in front of everyone, and that's a sure sign of a future star. That's Frankie Herr landing upside down. A fine field of 31 limited sprints delighted management tonight at Lincoln. Smooth driving Becca Anderson, number 18, drives into the feature lead past Dave Gable. Up from the micros, Brian Buckwalter probably already knows the popular over-the-tire into-the-wall maneuver. The Libby Mobile Home Sales number 119 of Carlisle's Greg Libby is working the upstairs, slowly gaining on Becca. Libby takes the top spot, and now the 88 of Terry Leininger wants to drop Becca to 3rd. Becca keeps it rolling, but the yellow is out, relegating her to the rear. Libby is gracious in victory lane after his first win of the year.
And I know you've chased that 18 car around here more laps than you'd like to remember.
Chased it. She went around me a lot of times. I mean, she's quick. She's definitely quick. And there for a while, we had to restart. I thought, well, I'll be all right now. And I think maybe I got a little overconfident, and she took off there. And I had a heck of a time running her down. I don't know what happened to her, but the next lap or two, something happened. She wasn't there on the board then.
May 11th. The Cars Club brings 17 sprinters west to late model country and the rustic big half-mile Bedford Fairgrounds. York Springs' Brooke Wibley and his Rebel Construction sponsored number 32 came all the way from 12th starting spot, taking first here from Tracy Templin. Brooke is just a little pumped after his first win of the season.
We love this place. You won here last year, and by golly, you dusted the field tonight.
I'll tell you what, we did a whole totally different setup even than we did last year. And I don't know this guy over here from Adam. He just showed up from Australia. And he says, do this, do that. I mean, we were flying.
I'll guarantee you're flying. You're coming through the corners there. You're blowing them off on the outside. That car was really hooked up.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
May 14th. 30 super sportsmen get their only 1997 opportunity to do it Port Royal style. The track is in perfect shape. The super sportsmen hit their highest speeds of the year. It's a 4-car, 100-mile-per-hour race for first. Bill Heckert leads Pat Cannon, number 25, Donnie Beaver, and Mark Smith, number 22. Donnie Beaver in the Advanced Industrial Services number 10, who started 11th, is the new leader. Maybe not. Yes, he's got it. Mark Smith moves in for a close second, but the Beaver talks to Tommy Little.
We like to run here. We run good here a lot, but a lot of times we have bad luck. Luckily here now we got 2 wins. I'm really happy about that. It's a fun place to race.
Well, I'll tell you what, more importantly, it's your first win of the 97 season, so that'll let a little bit of pressure off your back.
Yeah, it's getting tougher and tougher every year. There's so many good guys that are racing in the point handicap system. It makes it really tough to race there, but I think it does help you become a better racer for sure.
24 sprinters are on hand for the Wednesday night show. Fast improving Vaughn McGee in the number 1 half is experimenting with not letting up. Mark Richard, number 5, leads the feature. Judy Bates will be back racing at the port in just 3 nights, only to have these additional problems shown here. Back to Wednesday night, as Todd Schaefer, 88, zaps Richard for his 4th port win of the season. May 16th, Williams Grove. Craig Eschenauer is among 31 410 sprinters. Here Craig takes the feature lead, well, almost, from Brooke Wibley. The restart. Bill Bryan crashes hard. During the red flag, leader Wibley pitted with problems. Jeff Rohrball, number 45, inherited the lead until Mr. Excitement completes another winning charge from mid-pack. Todd started 10th and was set back 2 additional spots for jumping on a restart.
The big boys are coming to town next week, the World of Outlaws. You know you're fast here tonight. Do you feel fast enough to be competitive with them?
If they'd make the track just like it is tonight, we'd run with them. Seems like when they come in, I don't know who's in charge of that. They sort of cater to them, make it dead slick. I don't know. We run here every week, and then they change it when they come. So I'd like to think we have a chance against them.
Troy Weiser lines up a stalling Doug Esch. Troy is okay, and after a momentary nap, Doug is awakened by a bang of the guardrail. Doug would prefer a push truck next time. Frankie Herr, number 2, took the feature lead from Gary Gullub until the small block dominator Mike Lehman, number 59, completes his charge from 11th starting spot for his 3rd win in the 3 Grove Limited features conducted so far this season. Selin's Grove, May 17th. Todd Hester, number 33, leads the feature in search of his first win. Todd doesn't want a caution flag, but there's going to be one. Alan Cohen, his own number 17, who started 11th, appreciates the yellow. The Bloomsburg native followed Hester briefly before taking over on the 12th go-around. It's Alan's 3rd win of the 6-race season so far here in Snyder County.
No real close calls, I guess, during the way. Todd Hester was going great at the beginning. He seemed to really win in the lap traffic, and I think he slowed a little bit. And once he got by him, Craig Eschenauer was behind you, but looks like you had enough to cover him.
Yeah, we were pretty good. I knew it right from the start. I thought he was running a good race out front, and he just kind of hesitated a little bit during them lap cars, and I took advantage of it.
May 20th. That Pennzoil Sprint Car Series comes to Lernerville. Nobody hammers it for a full feature like these guys, and this is one place the track surface hangs in there with them. Western PA's main man, Ed Lynch, flips with Mike Lutz. Celebrating his 25th year in racing, Slammin' Sammy Swindell has taken the lead from the 11 of Greg Hodnett for his 7th feature win of the season. Pennzoil and National Live Television come to Williams Grove. Now we are told that dry, slick, dusty, slow tracks make for great TV. Indeed, there's more dust in warm-ups than we saw all night at Lernerville. Judy bends some more parts during Thursday night, May 22nd qualifying. Dion Hindy slips on the slick track. Donnie Schatz rolls over in avoiding a spinning Cliff Bryant. Mike Wagner on the start of the feature. Who can blame Sammy for working the system to perfection, starting on the front row and leading every lap? At least Sammy admits it.
How about the start? You had Mark Kinzer on the inside, you're on the outside. Did you feel the outside was going to be the place to be?
Well, I knew after the dash, the way I started that that was going to be an advantage. So, you know, we let Mark have the dash so I could get up there. I felt the racetrack was really going to go away on the bottom. And, you know, it did. We got a real good start, I think, both times. And, you know, I knew if I could do it without making a mistake that, you know, we'd get a good run.
Friday night, May 23rd, Johnny Herrera, always capable of an upset. Up-and-coming Lance Blevins. Herrera's upset was of the wrong variety tonight. On the tube, he blamed the incident on a broken torsion bar. The still frame shows Johnny was right. The second night, big ticket show format confounds us. The feature lineup is heads up from the dash, which was heads up from last night's feature, which was heads up from last night's dash. That's a 4-generation assault on passing. No matter how you line up the world's best race car drivers, you won't get a bad show. But why does that seem to be the goal on our biggest nights? After Blevins cleared the rail, front row starters Slamming Sammy and Cousin Mark do exchange the lead respectively. Kinzer talks with Bruce about the moment after a $10,000 win, his 7th of the Pennzoil 97 campaign.
Well, you had some good racing there with Sammy in the beginning. Could you call the pass for us if you can remember that far back when you got by Sammy?
Yeah, Sammy was just kind of running in the middle, and Sammy's been fast all week, and he was getting real loose getting off, and I went up to the high side of 4, or actually 2, and got a grip and just got to run at him down the back chute.
May 24th, we're back with the Sprint Car Mortals. Jesse Wentz and Jeff Thompson are in close competition for Hard Luck Awards here at Lincoln. It's a tie again tonight as Jesse goes off the wall in his heat race and Jeff off a spinning car during the feature. Chris Ace, number 17, comes from 10th starting spot, taking the lead from Todd Gracie on the 9th circuit for his 2nd Lincoln win of the season. It's worth the usual $2,500.
I'll tell you, you're a bit of a national celebrity this week. We got to watch one of the Outlaws spinning you around last night. Got to talk to you as a heat winner on national TV last night. You've got to be looking forward to the Outlaws coming to your home, Lincoln Speedway.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to him coming in, but I hope Fred puts a little bit of water on that track. I hope it ain't like Williams Grove. You know, it's so slick when the Outlaws come into town. They make her hard, and makes it hard on us guys because we're not used to it, but we'll see what happens.
Scott Osherman, along with 26 other 358 sprints, fill Lincoln's pits tonight. Here, Scotty rolls the 27 during a heat race. 18-year-old Jimmy Burns from Asbury, New Jersey, in his J.A. Burns Trucking #1 starts on the pole and leads every lap, which is in order when it's your first win ever.
We've been getting closer, you know. This is only our first year running, you know, and just trying to get a handle on suspension. We only ran go-karts before this, and we're trying to get the handle of this thing, and it worked tonight.
Let's check in over at Port Royal. Von McGee is okay after a hard hit. George Culp lays it over. Rod Straub does half an endo, tangling with Brose Bryant. Will Kramer slows and gets tapped into a spill. May 24th, Dave Hahn from Green Lane led DeWeese and Schaefer for his first career win in his Kelly Fuels Deuce.
Well, I know you've had your ups and downs in this business, and it's just great to see you finally get that win.
Yeah, I was walking myself on that last restart. I thought, better not mess up.
I think you definitely had it. How was the racetrack for you in the feature?
It seemed good to me, yeah.
May 25th, Sean Keane prepares before leading the Sealands Grove Memorial Day feature on the start. Unfortunately, a first-lap caution flag is a disaster for Sean. Barry Camp did not notice the signal as quickly as Sean and runs into the rear of the 53. Sean was a bit irate at Barry, but his emotions would have been better expressed at the driver who coasted right past a pit gate, intentionally causing the yellow to begin with. Drivers who do this cost millions of dollars in crashed parts in the close corners of unnecessary restarts. Randy Wolf, 75, then led the still daylight feature through the dust over the 461 of Lance DeWeese until a broken part resulted in another red flag. Lance has no such problems. May 30th, a wet, fast Williams Grove surface allowed 3 new track records. The one-day format handicapping held up enough for 3 different leaders and the winner to come from the second row. Wonder what Denny Lazowski just heard. The dude Lazowski led the first half of the 30-lapper until Steve the King Kinzer's green #11 took advantage of a bobble. After turning the first 16-second lap at the Grove, Jack Howdenshield performs another impossibility. Here's the wild child and his family after his first win of the Pennzoil Series in the Pennzoil-sponsored #22.
Jack, that was quite a move you put on the king of the Outlaws coming off turn #4. Did you feel you were going to be ahead of him when you came through that corner? Did you feel you were going to be in the grandstand?
Yeah, I know the car felt pretty good, so the car was just kept working better and better as we went on, so I felt pretty good out there. The car was just sticking real good, so we just got up through there.
Patty, you look pretty excited yourself over here.
Yeah, I've just been waiting to win one this year because I know he's good enough and I know he's going to win a lot more.
May 31st, the big boys wind up their swing at Lincoln. That's Dave Haight with the more dramatic approach to turn 3. Billy Pouch, #1, gives the Pennsylvania posse their brightest moment of the series by leading several laps off the pole. Cousin Mark, #5, who started outside the first row, calls Lincoln one of his favorite tracks. Here Mark takes the Wirtgen sprinter past the kid before cruising on home for the 30-lap win. While many tracks have been on and off the micro-sprint bandwagon in the past decade, the granddaddy of them all is the Clyde Martin Speedway. Nestled back among the mountains surrounded by friendly Dutchified areas like Lebanon, Hershey, and Lancaster, Clyde has been home to the Lanco Micros and only the Micros for over 40 years. The family atmosphere here is second to none. Large crowds pay just 5 bits to see 4 classes totaling more than 120 race cars on the 5th mile. The competitive micros are so fast and light that the flip count can exceed 150 over the course of the 21-event Saturday night season. But Clyde launches many sprint car careers as well. Review this tape around the turn of the century, and we'll bet some of these will be well-known racing names across the countryside. Michelle Miller. Christy Adams. Davey Martzel on his side. Tommy Lamasco. Sam Esch off brother Doug. Rick Agin. Doug Kenna. Bob Brubaker, number 23. Mike Dicely. Shaky Jake Mays. Terry Schaefer. Lou Temple and Eddie Nefaro. Kevin Nels. Jack Brubaker. Mark God, number 82. Bob Brubaker again. Henry Slagle. John Brown. Chris Snyder. Kurt Miller. Mark Gods. Dale Thompson joins in. Veteran Craig DeSantis. Cliff Johnson. Sam Esch off brother Doug again. Ditto Evans. Jeff Bennett. Mike Miller. Sam Esch again. Jack Brubaker on his side. Bruce Buckwater. Rick Buckwater. Pete Ober. Corey Herbsock. Ray Bull. Stevie Buckwater. Lou Temple. Kurt Miller, Troy Halligan, even Clyde has its super colossus, like this massive jam up a half lap before the green flag.
75.
May 31st, Scott Fick from Reading and his number 40 is underneath and past the 21 of Adrian Schaefer for his second win of the season here at Clyde Martin. Sticking with the micros, a brand new quarter mile of clay is initiated at the historic Kutztown Fairgrounds on June 4th. We always said we could watch these racers full time, and they won us over further by going out and putting on a show despite the roughest conditions we've ever seen. Number 1, Ray Bull, leads over Greg Lamy and Randy West. West moves into second after contact as the Zemco lookalike car of Keith Wetzel challenges Lamy for third. Get the Preparation H ready for these micro drivers. Terry Schaefer, number 2, gets past both Lamy and Wetzel into third behind Bull and West. Now Bull, West, and Schaefer momentarily go 3 wide for first, with West and then Schaefer coming out on top. The finish was Reading's Terry Schaefer over West, Bull, and Lamy. A large opening night crowd watched in awe. These are some real gutter racers. June 6th, Williams Grove never looked so smooth. George Ryden leads the sportsman feature until tangling with the 16 of Paul Troutman, who wanted the first position as well. Jerry Strauser joins in. Keith Prutzman from Reading and his number 28 LPS sportsman takes the coveted first position from J.R. Fry.
We have a new leader. It is Keith Prutzman in the 28.
Keith went on to win over the dueling racers of Mark Smith, 22, and Bobby Weaver, 5, despite a last lap close-in by Smith.
Last lap, Mark Smith really coming. As we said, he and Weaver were battling for second. Mark got away from him, really came after you. Did you realize how close he was there at the end?
Yeah, I thought at the one time, I thought I heard his motor behind me, and then when I jumped the cushion up in 3 and 4 in the last lap, I thought for sure he was going to slide underneath me, but when I didn't see him coming down the chute, I figured I was okay yet.
Keith, this is your first win at Williams Grove in sportsman competition. How does it feel?
It feels great. If you win at the Grove, you won at the best track.
The sprinters, that's Brian Paulus. Jess Thomas. The 461 of Lance DeWeese begins a Grove hot streak, picking up the Walt Dyer team's second win of the season here. Dean Bush is one of 26 358 sprinters at Lincoln on June 7th. Dean's problems begin in warm-ups, but they're not as serious as Greg Leiby's. Greg is okay. Feature time. Dean gets run over, then dumps.
We got a car on his side on turn 4. Her beside Freeland for the race lead.
Mark Freeland, number 4, and Frankie Herr race side by side for the lead. But here comes smooth driving Becca Anderson and her dad's number 18 for her first PA win. Becca is a star in a couple of sports, especially field hockey, but her favorite is racing, much to the chagrin of her Delaware educators.
Anderson, your race leader. Freeland second, Herr third. Hammaker fourth. You actually turned down some scholarship offers to keep racing cars.
Yeah, as of right now, that's what I'm doing. I really love racing. It'd just be a big help if a big sponsor to come along.
Last year, you raced with a couple of guys to the end, and it was lap traffic that did you in. But this time, it looked like you had the upper hand through that lap traffic.
Yeah, we didn't really get heavy until the last couple laps. Like you said, yeah, I lost a race this year because of lap traffic, and then last year. But, I mean, I'd like to get into some lap traffic seat time. I mean, it's just experience there, and it helped me in the long run.
Jesse Wentz from Manchester, Maryland, does both parts needed to win at Lincoln. First, his Folk & Son Feeds number 2 takes the lead from Lonnie Ryan. And second, holds off the ever menacing last lap's charge of 12th spot starter Fred Raymer. It's a new 25-lap record to boot.
Yeah, I saw him at the end. I mean, going into like 1 and 2 or coming out 3 and 4, I can't really remember. But he was definitely there. And it's when you beat Freddie and these guys are they're tough, and makes you feel good when you whip them a little bit. You know?
Well, one of the things I was going to mention, you know, it makes it all the better when you know that 77 car is right behind.
Oh yeah, it makes everybody run harder. It makes you drive harder. I mean, I like to run against stout competition like that. So I mean, it just makes you better.
June 11th in Western PA. Beautiful scenery and knowledgeable track prep combine here at Challenger Raceway. Fred Raymer must enjoy the all-star handicapping when they visit the area. As for the second straight race, and at least the third time this season, the number 77 leads every lap from the front row. But Keith Kaufman keeps poking at him.
Kaufman passed in traffic prior to the caution flag, and now it's Kaufman and Raymer breaking away from Shepard and Walker. This may be a two-horse race when we come down to it, two of Central Pennsylvania's finest.
Smack in the middle of Central PA sprint car country, and on Saturday nights yet, Susquehanna offers the RSCA Modifieds. Also competing regularly are the street stocks and car sprints. The Modifieds have actually been the marquee division here for several years, but 1997 marked the return of the Racing Sanction Corporation of America to the sport. The RSCA has held an almost legendary status by those who remember the Reading Fairgrounds. Mike Lehman has a modified ride in the number 7. Mike, who's been dominating the sprints here, is looking for his first RSCA win, but not tonight, as Jeff Strunk, number 93, takes over the lead on the 23rd lap. The car sprints took the wings off tonight in front of the largest Susky crowd of the season. Both Brian Buckwalter and Dave Sox would run the feature after their visits to the rail early in the evening. Right on the start of the feature, Tim Higgins had his rear end lock up in front of Jimmy Stitzel. No injuries. Mike Enders in the Orange Racer led for 2 laps until Allentown's Brian Seidel in the Bachman's Auto Parts number 50 planted himself in first. Is wingless racing really better for showcasing driver talent? Listen to Brian in the unagendized honesty of Victory Lane.
Yeah, when you have the wing, it goes out the end of the straightaway. It just kind of plants itself, and when you don't have this wing on, you don't really know. If you run in just a car length too deep, it jumps up over the cushion, and you're a busy guy for a little bit. Yeah, you don't get to relax at all. This is probably like the most mentally fatiguing thing I've ever done in a race car. You're concentrating all the time. You can't relax for a minute.
Miss Cars graciously declined the many suggestions that she join in the toplessness. June 20th, the United Racing Club is under a full moon at the Grove. Billy Ellis is upside down and out for the night. The number 88 of Shawn Michaels slips around Glenn Fitzcharles to lead the feature on the second lap. For the second year in a row, the URC put a sprinter where one has never been before. That's Scott Mohan blocking traffic out on Speedway Drive. URC's substantial first place money attracts Lance DeWeese tonight. Lance started 18th and finished first after this restart pass of Michael, whose engine is sputtering. That's Wild Bill Bryant. The Grove regulars will also feel the effects of the full moon. Impressive sportsman graduate Sean Keane leads another feature. Bill Bryan tangles with Todd Schaefer. Bryan becomes the 3rd home run of the night. Apparently expecting fire, Bill quickly bails out of his car and then, showing concern for his fellow racer, smothers any possible flames on Todd's uniform as well. The restart. Keane is also now having engine problems, and guess who is there to take advantage? It's not over yet, as we see Kevin Gobrecht completing 6.5 flips down the front stretch. More cars pile in. Craig Eschenauer's hard landing after his finale moonshot broke the driver's seat, leaving Craig sore and out of action for a couple weeks. Everyone else is okay as DeWeese cruised home for the easy win. June 21st, Lincoln, the Saturday night home of the double sprint show. Cliff Bryan will make about the 10,000th driver attempt at enlarging the short half mile. Jesse Wentz inherited the pole after several front starters tangled. Jesse's most serious threat came from the 17 of Chris Ace. Fred Raymer only made it to 3rd tonight. Jesse is very happy having turned his season around with 2 Lincoln wins. The deuces are fast tonight as Frankie Herr holds off Jeremy Trout on his way to his first 358 win of the season.
There's a lot of good drivers in this division, but you clearly the fastest tonight.
Yeah, I like the competition, and I know you can't let up because somebody will get by, and I needed that win tonight. And I want to thank all my race team, owner Skip Hoppin, and all the entire crew. They worked their butt off. We had a lot of bad luck here lately, and I hope it's changed around, and I think we're going to be going in the right direction now.
The 358 sprints are going in the wrong directions at Williams Grove. That's Becca Anderson over the rail. Judd Shepard goes high to miss Tracy Templin. Brian Buckwater's going to be a real charger. Rich Nye lands atop Tom Leach. June 27th, Colby Womer wins this battle for the feature lead over Bob Beitelman, number 81. During the red flag for another Judd Shepard flip, Terry Leininger gets turned around. Since Terry kept going, he restarted in 4th spot. A couple laps later, the DCI Mike's Auto Supply number 88 is challenging Womer for the lead. Terry, from right here in Mechanicsburg, takes the first position, then survives a second smack in the rear on his way to his second Williams Grove Limited win.
Looks like you haven't gotten used to this yet.
No, I'll tell you, it's going to be, I don't think I'm quite as excited as last week. That's going to be a hard one to beat because that was my first one in this division. We've been doing really good. Man, I just got to thank everybody. Jim Strasball, the Strasball brothers, Mike's Auto Supply. I picked up a new sponsor, DCI, this week. Things are just going awesome. I can't believe it. I love it. This is great. That's good.
Just how good is it, Terry?
I just love it. It's better than sex.
Australian Gary Brazier started on the pole and led every lap of the 410 feature for his first Grove win.
Gary, Williams Grove, we know you'd heard a lot about it. You were a regular with us a couple of years ago, I guess. Has to be pretty special to win at this place.
It's definitely special. You know, I've watched tapes from when I was 10 years old of watching this racetrack, and you know, when I come over in '94 and spent the whole summer over here, racing against these guys in PA, I learned a lot because, you know, they race hard and fast, and you know, I think I've learned a lot over the couple of years by racing here and, you know, with the Outlaws, but I always wanted one of these little flags here. So.
You get to keep this, by the way.
Yeah, I'm definitely not giving it back anyway.
June 28th, over 70 open cockpit racers are at Silver Spring. The 358's annual appearance here leaves Rusty Presley on his lid. The track was slick, but Greg Libby, number 119, put on a show, coming from 15th to finally take first from the number 7 of Johnny Mackison Jr. on the 12th lap before opening up a comfortable winning advantage. The weather is hot and humid and the stands are packed. Dave Schaffstall of Orwin in the White Dove Bridal Shop number 07 becomes the 10th different Super Sportsman winner at the Springs this season after taking the lead from Pat Cannon.
The race for the lead was off turn number 2. You and Pat Cannon there for a while.
Yeah, Pat's tough. He's a real strong runner, and I was debating if I could get him or not, and then I guess one time over there he drifted up high, and then I slid underneath and got him.
Meanwhile, at Port Royal, right turns are great in politics, but not in sprint cars. Len Thompson is okay, but kerplunk jump. Much happier is Rod Straub, who leads DeWeese and Schaefer across the finish line in his Love's Auto Sales 21 for his first port and second career win.
We tore down the fences, tore down the wires, blew up motors, tore cars in half, did everything but win. We won tonight. Winning is more fun.
Pennsylvania Speed Week, when the world's best sprint car racing takes a break for 6 nights of pretty good sprint car racing. Just a few minor spills marred the series. Jim Campbell hopes for the best after his at Selin's Grove. Jeff Thompson at Lincoln. Judy Bates at Grandview. Bobby Weaver at Silver Spring. Danny Jones at Grandview. Time trials replaced points handicapping for the series. Only Chris Ace would interrupt the Raymer-DeWeese winning juggernaut, and all races were won from the front rows. A fast and racy Grandview opened the series on June 29th. Fred Raymer started fourth before his winning tussle for the lead with Bill Bryan, number 16, on the 10th lap. It's a popular win for Fast Freddy, back at his original stomping grounds. Chris Ace's win came on a very heavy Silver Spring surface. Todd Schaefer started on the pole, but is having problems keeping the number 88's nose down. Chris started on the second row, and for the second Speed Week show in a row, the winning pass occurs on the 10th go-round. The outstanding occurrence of the week was certainly Lance DeWeese, winning by passing Fred Raymer, who started on the pole at Lincoln. DeWeese picked up a fat, easy $10,000 in the Mitch Smith Memorial at Williams Grove. Fertile Freddie Raymer started on the pole and led every lap at Selin's Grove.
I'll tell you what I wanted more than anything. I wanted my picture with my kids, and I finally got it.
This is the second win of Speed Week. It looks like it's all going to get decided tomorrow.
Lance started on the third row at Susquehanna, taking the lead from Kevin Gobrecht on the 7th lap. At Port Royal, time trials started both DeWeese and Raymer on the front row, with DeWeese eventually pulling away.
Well, you know, you're fresh off putting your name into the books for one of the very few elite drivers that could say he claimed Pennsylvania Speed Week.
Yeah, it sure was. You know, all we worry about is winning races, and you know, whatever happens with the points happens, and that's, you know, we were fortunate enough to win 3 of the 6 shows that we got in, and that gave us the championship, and I'm happy as heck to win this one right now.
During the course of the Speed Week, the ARDC midgets had plenty of fireworks July 5th at Lincoln. Brian Kobilarz, Randy Mosteller, Ted Schmidt, and Don Trent all flipped their small but fast racers.
Spinning car over there, turn. Oh, on his side he goes, up and over.
The big one launched Tim Dietz, who had just taken over second place before the exit point of his slide job past Ed Steinley carried him into the Thunder Car pits. Mark Freeland of Ickersburg in his Turnball Oil Service number 4 beats out Walt Steerley, number 42, and Ed Steinley to become the 8th different winner of the season in ARDC competition.
I'm exhausted. I got to tell you what, these guys on this crew, they bust their butt. Roger gives me real good equipment. These guys here at the track, they got a perfect racetrack for these cars. If we could be here every night, I'd be here. I'd love it here.
The Super Sportsmen were the unpredictable half of the Susquehanna Speed Week show. Bobby Weaver from Hellam in the Godfrey Brothers number 5G came from 10th starting spot for his first win of the season. The seasoned veteran took the top spot from Tom Haxall, then survived this brush with disaster and lap traffic for another of his many wins in his 30-plus year career of racing anything on dirt.
Winning never gets old. You know, we won a lot of races, and I like running up here, and usually we're right up front when we come here. I thought we were in trouble there when that yellow come out. They stacked up on the back stretch, and I drove into the back of the guy, and front end's all bent up. I knew it wasn't right, but I thought, well, we'll go till she quits.
The second lap of the feature, July 11th, was the setting for one of Williams Grove's more memorable crashes.
Cushion, we've got trouble on the backstretch.
Lance DeWeese is one of a couple of cars a little too far to the inside. The 461 pulls back in line, but appears to catch the front end of Jess Thomas. Lance turns into the wall hard. Jess's rod is no picnic either. The post-crash condition of Lance's car frightened even the most callous sprint car fans. Lanky Lance was a little shaky, being helped from the still intact safety structures. He'll finish second tomorrow at the port. Meanwhile, Jess seems completely unfazed and even philosophical.
One of them deals, huh?
Here's a final full-speed look at the crash from the Sports Plus Beer Hill camp. Sean Keane, number 53, led most of the race for the second week in a row, but Fred Raymer on the low side of some lap traffic pushed by on the 18th lap.
Fred, this really solidifies your lead in the Cindy Rowe Autoglass point standings with Lance crashing. You had just a 40-point lead coming in, but he finishes way back, and you get a big win tonight. That's got to be a good cushion for you for the Cindy Rowe Autoglass point standings.
Well, I really want to win that points. I never really went for a point win here. I don't want to win it that way. I think, you know, hey, Lance's car is operating right now. I'm telling you the truth. I'm tired of hearing him out in the front stretch, but he deserves to be here. I'd rather just beat him than have him see something like that happen tonight.
The Super Sportsman feature leaders tango on the second lap, beginning this pileup. That's J.R. Fry laying it over. Let's go racing right. Tim White gives up the lead to Leroy Martin, number 66. And now Larry Jackson moves into second.
Larry Jackson going for the lead off the second corner. Mark Smith draws to the inside of...
Mark Smith now slips past Jackson into second, but coming off the turn almost 4 abreast for the lead, the cars file back out with Jackson challenging Martin for the lead. Martin and Jackson ran side by side for several miles until Martin bumped the second turn cushion and bobbled enough for Jackson in the Highlands Tire Service number 3 to move ahead for his record-setting 13th Williams Grove Napa Super Sportsman win.
As we said, Larry, this is career win number 13 here for you. Rich Eichelberger is second. I think he's got 8. So you've always run well at the Grove. As you said, you had one here earlier this year and kind of let it get away. Do you remember what happened that night?
Yeah, we were going up back shooting the last lap, and we blew her right rear, and I tried to bring her around for the checkered, and we broke the whole rear out of it, and we ended up like 3rd or 4th.
July 19th, Sealands Grove. Sean Keane in the Keane Transport 53 is around Paul Moles into the lead and on to his first sprint car win.
Well, Sean, we've seen a lot of drivers win their first ones here at Sealands Grove. Last year we had Johnny Heidenreich on the wing. Tonight you, and I know you're happy.
I'll tell you what, we've won, I think that was our 4th heat race. And every time we get going on starts these features, the car doesn't go, and I get better. It's probably the driver. You know, it's always the driver's fault. But man, I mean, this thing took off. And all I could think about in the back of my head was Alan Cole, Barry Camp, Kronheim. I'll tell you what, I'm sick of everybody saying, oh, Sealands Grove's rough. There's nobody good up there. Let me tell you what, we'll take on Lance or any of them guys any day up here. Because of you fans, it's awesome here. We got to thank you guys day in, day out for coming back. And if you enjoyed this tonight, bring more people next week. I thank you so much. I'm in dreamland right now.
July 22nd, Grandview. Chris Ace gets his wings clipped. Thunder on the hill and a fine race as well. Watch Keith Kaufman, number U2, as he seems to surge from contact in this second-place battle with Lance DeWeese, carrying momentum right past the leading number 69 of Donnie Kreitz for the $5,200 winner's check.
Here's Kaufman making a run for the top spot. Brent Raymer sneaks up into 3rd. Here's Kaufman, goes wide. Kaufman is up there. Keith Kaufman moves up into the number 1 position.
Check the nice fingernail polish as worn by the newly crowned Miss Thunderwear, Chrissy Reinhold. July 25th, Port Royal. The All-Stars begin a long night with a makeup feature. Terry McCarroll will be back for the regularly scheduled show. The 30-car field managed 10 flips. Here's 3 of them: Rod Stroup, Judy Bates, and Troy Camp. Only Stroup was out for the night. Jess Thomas continues his rough part of the season. After Todd Schaefer dropped out, fellow front-row starter Lance DeWeese's close challenges came from Tyler Walker. But Tyler's sure second-place finish was gone along with his right rear tire on the last lap. Heat race problems. This time, Troy Camp is out for the night. All-Stars Bob Felmley and Tilted Kenny Jacobs will both find their way into the Beef Night feature. The All-Stars very much want their first ever win at Port. Indeed, All-Star Van Gurley Jr., number 3, leads the feature. Billy Pouch, number 1, is a closing second. Brian Gobrecht tangles with a competitor before hitting the Port Royal Tough Love barriers. The restart. Pouch gets the jump on Gurley, but we have contact. On down the front. Pouch has recovered, but a still squirrely Gurley finally rams the grandstand designer wall. Van suffered a backache from the crash. Chalk up another $4,000 for the undefeated Port Royal posse in the form of Billy the Kid. July 26th. Winning rookie Pat Cannon and the Super Sportsman will go first class tonight at Silver Spring. Warm-ups. This looks like a good spot. Bill Benner wonders what he did wrong. Super promoter and occasional mother hen to the Sportsman Alan Kreitzer dropped points and used time trials to thin out the racing. Although Brett Romano may question the for safety's sake solo runs, time trials did avoid starting a less experienced driver on the front who might get crossed up in front of everyone. Instead, veteran and last year's wingless winner Howie Locke started up front and promptly got crossed up in front of everyone. Pat Cannon continued to race after his slow roll. Larry Jackson, number 3, takes the lead from Bob Fantasy, number 1, with Smokey Snellbaker on the inside in third. This is what dirt tracks are made for. Look at 60-year-old Smokey bend the Rife's RV number 80 into turn 3 on a perfect racing surface at Silver Spring. It's not just flashy either. Smoke's going to win this thing. The final lap. It's Smokey over a closing Donnie Beaver with Jackson third.
Lynn Paxton also stopped by. He's up in the press box tonight. I'm sure you two had some real battles going wheel to wheel with or without a wing.
Well, me and Lynn, you know, I'm so fortunate that I raced in the air I did against Mitch Smith, Lynn Paxton, Bobby Allen, Jan Opperman, Kenny Weld. I mean, I raced against the best there ever was, and I'll tell you, it's going to take a lot of the young guys to fill the pants of those guys.
I'll tell you what, Smokey, it doesn't seem like you're slowing down at all. No caution flags for your racing career.
Well, this is my hobby, you know. I quit drinking, so hell, I have to have something to have fun.
Don't worry about old Smokey. Racing's not the only fun he's not given up. August 5th, Lernerville. When you speak of big money national sprint car races of August, never forget the Don Martin Memorial, where the one-day format meets over 30,000 to win. Apparently, few people did forget as a record crowd looks on. Tyler Walker's gotten quite familiar with Lernerville clay during the '97 season. With 52 sprinters pitside, qualifying is where it's at. Local Craig Rankin will not. Even with the one-night format, tonight the feature is over before it starts. Dash winner Mark Kinzer starts on the pole and leads every lap, relaxing with his own future racer in the Lernerville victory lane. July 31st, Todd's upset. He's been hanging out at Williams Grove since he was 6 months old, but still hasn't been on national television. When they nail the setup, the PA posse can still run with any herd. Chris Ace leads the Thursday night feature off the front row. Paul McMahon was running second. Coming around for the 2-lap to go sign, leader Chris hits the fourth turn cushion and packs his wheel with mud. Unbelievably, second place Sammy Swindell does the exact same thing. First, Sammy slows way down, then picks the pace back up as Ace slows greatly. The pair of crippled racers hit turn 3 side by side before Chris hits the troublesome turn 4 cushion again. The number 1 of Sammy takes the white flag in the lead. The last lap, Ace's out-of-balance suspension comes apart, bringing out the yellow. Under caution, there is nothing Sammy can do about his predicament. The race is restarted with 2 laps to go. Mark Kinzer, number 5, easily takes the win. Swindell managed to hold on to third behind Mark and Steve Kinzer. For many, the highlight of the night is after the races. Friday night, things went more as planned. As Thursday's winner, Mark Kinzer started on the pole in both dash and feature and led every lap of both. Brian Monteith, Dave Haight, and Kevin's brother Brian Gobrecht are among those tempting fate at Williams Grove. Brian Gobrecht gets a good bite on Brian Paulus. George Culp flips the Jimmy Schaefer number 57. The same crash in which Brooke Wabley ate a camera sent Cliff Bryan for a loop. Chris Ace tangles with Lance DeWeese. Heads-up driving avoids Jeff Rohrbach. Brian Monteith slams Brian Paulus and is joined by Len Thompson. Dave Haight led the August 8th feature until a yellow flag waved as his number 07 headed for the checker. The final lap is restarted with Donnie Kreitz and Fred Raymer 77 on Dave's bumper. Take it, Bruce.
Green is out. Last lap, Kreitz to the lead. Kreitz to the lead. Haight on the low side. Haight drives up in front of Kreitz. Donald ducks back under him. Kreitz has the lead. Kreitz, Haight and Raymer. Final turn. Kreitz to the bottom. Haight to the top. Off four they come. Raymer to second. Checker waves. Kreitz has won. Raymer second. Then Haight, Luis, and Fouch.
The car was actually working better than I was driving it because I didn't have any brakes at all, and especially when we got in lap traffic there. And I was pretty worried on that last restart with Fred behind us because I know he does those sliders and usually expects you to hit the brakes, but if you don't have any, I figured there was going to be some kind of big crash.
Knoxville, Iowa, where from the far reaches of sprint cars, Capitani and company have created the legitimate nationals. Prestigious Knoxville Hard Knocks here by Doran Doty. Wisconsin's Danny Godin, number 27, along with Mark Smizer, number 69 from Montana, and Justin Villa. Jeff Shepard's 15th place finish bested the Central PA contingent, which included Kevin Gobrecht's 17th place finish and DNQs of Todd Schaefer, Len Thompson, and Judy Bates. Favorites Slam and Sammy and Cousin Mark went at it off the front row until their infamous tangle when Swindell braked first for a crash in lap traffic. The Buckeye Bullet, Dave Blaney, in the vibrant number 10, then collects the $100,000 winner's share of sprint car racing's premier event. 22 sprinters make a rare appearance in front of a very sturdy grandstand deep in late model country at Winchester, Virginia. It's August 24th. Upperco, Maryland's Jeff Shepard has just taken the ride in the new Les and Linda Stewart-owned number 4. Jeff leads, but not by much over Fred Raymer. The track was very smooth, if a little slick. The final turns. Shepard leads Raymer across the finish for the $3,000 win. August 27th, Tyler Walker endos down the front as the All-Stars help present the Grandview Thunder on the Hill finale, which includes a 40-lap feature and 38 sprinters pit side. Manchester, Maryland's Jesse Wentz will almost score an upset in the $6,000 to win event, despite this run-in with lap traffic down the back on the 12th lap. Despite front wing damage, Jesse still held a good lead when Cliff Bryan brought out the red. During the stoppage, second place Donnie Kreitz made a perfect chassis adjustment, while Jesse, a low buck contender, did not even have a spare nose wing. With 3 laps to go, Kreitz takes the winning spot. Fred Raymer finished 4th and was crowned King of the Hill. Lenny Krautheim brings his brand new sprinter to Williams Grove. Len Thompson power lifting the front end. Krautheim breaks in his number 3. More Williams Grove spills, this time starring Lance DeWeese, who broke a wheel, and Kevin Gobrecht, who ran over it. Lance's most recent heroics included knocking more than 5 seconds off the 10-lap track record. Brooke Weibley gets the short end. Dan Dietrich leads the August 29th feature for 6 laps, but here comes the black 55 of Mike Wagner. Wagner is leading now, but under hot pursuit by the Beam 88 of Todd Schaefer. The pair enters turn 3 on lap traffic simultaneously, but only Schaefer emerges from the 18th lap drama. Turns 3 and 4 has been the hot spot for flips this year, but this is getting ridiculous. Todd, in the Village Square CMB Mushroom-sponsored car, then cruised to another win. The Super Sportsmen are 39 cars strong tonight. Terry Loninger, who races both the Sportsman and Limited Sprints, flips in qualifying. Showtime, the Sportsman's final Williams Grove feature of the year. Camp Hill's Mark Smith in the Taylor Rental number 22 moves under George Ryden and into the lead on the 4th of the 20 circuits. A few minutes later, Smith would barely hold off this last lap challenge by the black car of Larry Jackson.
I just wanted to stay in my line up there on the top. I didn't want to move to the bottom because I didn't run there the whole race. So I didn't want to change at the last minute. So I figured, well, if they're going to get me, they have to get me on the bottom. And then Jackson showed himself there on the bottom, and I was like, well, we got the momentum, so I think we can pull it off.
August 30th, Port Royal. Hurricane Mike Walter bumps the front stretch wall. Hurricane brushes the back stretch wall. Hurricane hits the third turn rail. Mike's stint in the Weicker car is over, but nobody can say he didn't stand on it. Darrell Steimling broke a wheel, sending him into the rail. With DeWeese and Schaefer racing in Ohio, we expected a wild one. Rod Straub, number 21, leads over Rod George, number 5. A blown engine leads to an oil slick in turn 3, and here comes the leaders. George makes it through as Straub asks, why me? George brought the Baumberger number 5 home for his second port win of the season. The fair exhibits contrast nicely with racing, as the Juniata County Fair Labor Day Classic is, if you'll forgive us, our personal favorite. A big 39-car field is on hand for Port's only daylight event, as we are not the only ones who enjoy the Classic's karma. After drawing the pole, Fred Raymer holds off Donnie Kreitz, wiring the field for the $3,000 win. After the Port, everyone's down the road to Selinsgrove on this particularly hot and humid Labor Day for the Jack Gunn Memorial. Fred Raymer again lucked into the pole, but the 88 of Todd Schaefer says, oh, no, you don't, making the winning pass on the 8th lap. Todd earned $2,500. We've made racing friends across the country, and a couple of them have cameras. The newest, youngest, and eastmost is Jerseyite Jimmy Murdoch. Examples through Jimbo's viewfinder include youngsters in the quarter midgets at Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, and 300-foot adult backstretch slides down the Jersey Shore paved banks known as Wall Stadium. Brian Thompson begins our annual Midwest Cavalcade of Racers quality time at the Tulsa Expo's Chili Bowl for midgets and the lesser-known but equally spectacular Tulsa Shootout for mini sprints. New York modified superstar Brett Hearn in a rare moment with a real race car. Jack Howdenshield in a real race car. Brian often travels with Kevin and Alan Harker, whose photos, often of these same incidents, frequently grace your Speed Sport and Open Wheel. Also Mike Harker, who makes up for his dislike of squinting through viewfinders by being the racing paparazzi's poet laureate, if we're allowed such. It was Mike who so effectively defended our penchant for focusing on the trickiest turn when he said, go there because a flip is a terrible thing to waste. There are many accounts of race cars crashing into structures, but the close proximity to a large window of Scott Sawyer's Landing begs the question, will the Expo be the first building a racer crashes out of? More midgets here at Kokomo, Indiana. Larry Gibson puts right rear over left rear, and the rest is history. Aaron Fiskus gets a wheel into Michael Cox, sending Cox up and over. Andy Pierce on his lid after whacking Roy Carruthers. Jay Drake is the first midget upside down at Tony George's new 16th Street Speedway in Indianapolis, where they finally found a good use for a baseball stadium. Jeff Hampton. Wisconsin's Dean Billings drives over the front end of Andy Michner and flips at what used to be home plate. Greg Lukert drives over Jeff Fletcher, sending Fletcher into orbit at Sweet Springs, Missouri. Patrick Bruns flips his modified midget at Jacksonville, Illinois. Chris England, 23, and David Fall get together at Belle Claire Speedway in Illinois. American Legion Speedway in Fairbury, Illinois. Dave Camfield hits the panic button, sending Jack Hewitt tumbling. Donnie Brownson gets out of the gas while in the cushion, and here is the result. Midwest Sprinters. Bobby Hawks flips at Farmer City, Illinois. Missouri Race Park. Brooke Tatnell pulls a wheelie and finds the wall, waking the fans during time trials. Jason Dukes fillets his sprinter after making backstretch contact with Kevin Stepter. Tri-City Speedway, Illinois. Doug Wolfgang suffered a broken vertebrae after spinning wildly and having the cage ripped off by a flipping Tim Engler. A complete recovery is predicted. Lincoln Park Speedway at Putmanville, Indiana. Eric Burns gets over a wheel after a spin by Lenny Walsh. David Cronenberger and Jim Mills execute the double. J.J. Yaley is upside down after a spin and is then hit by Jerry Miller. Will Newland says hello after hitting an inside tire. Kent Christensen gets over the wheel of Danny Williams and puts a big dip in the roll cage. Brian Black hits the front stretch guardrail and barrel rolls twice. Confusion on the start leaves Sheldon Kinzer Jr. upside down on the front stretch. Bloomington, Indiana, Dave Peperak and Bill Rose flipping. Peperak appears to be over the edge of the earth in this twilight surreal image. Nick Adams rolls over the banking in time trials. Tracy Hines stands on the gas when he meets the almighty cushion. Bobby Smith during the Sheldon Kinzer Memorial Race. Jeff Wood takes a nasty tumble as the sprinters take to Kokomo. Kevin Huntley flips before taking the green in time trials. Mark Casella has just returned to racing despite losing sight in one eye after being punted out of Terre Haute after the race was over. Roger Talley takes the wing off for the first time and doesn't have a clue during Terre Haute, Indiana time trials. That's altitude with attitude. While Brian prefers wingless competition, he also gives highest marks to the fantastic track prep and well-run Sunday night wing shows of the Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, Indiana. Paul Schmidt has his cage rattle. Rod Cowell hits Adam Schmidt twice before flipping. Kevin Thomas flies his USAC dirt car at the Springfield, Illinois mile. Jack Hewitt having no brakes on the Indy mile, but he hangs in there until Jim Keeker gets in the way. Brian's finale. Mike Brooks meets DuQuoin, Illinois' infamous safety barrier. Racetracks are a little scarce in the deserts of Arizona, but our westward contributor has few complaints. Mark Meeks has the wide variety of high-speed competition offered by Manzanita right in his backyard near Phoenix. Tony Smiley rebuilt his car and healed 2 broken ankles after this one. His first time back in his now black racer was better only in that Tony escaped injury. Paul Norberry. California's Sprint Car Racing Association hits their highest speeds a couple of times a year here. Steve Osling and Gary Plum are okay. The most local is the Arizona Sprint Car Association. In 1995, the 360 cubic inch club voted no more wings to cut expenses, and they've been on a roll ever since. The ASCA is supposed to race only on the quarter mile, but Brandon Lane and Kenny Webster appear to have other ideas. An unidentified driver takes the back way out. David Scott. Rob Davis. Breck Higgins. Will he ever stop? Another wild one on the quarter mile. Beginner's luck? When Mark took a break, his father Dave picked up the camera. That's Kenny Wentworth. Finally, Mark takes us as far west as it goes, to the Mecca and savior of Southern California, Paris Auto Speedway. Jimmy Votel was okay after this spill during weekly SCRA competition. September 5th, Port Royal. Young Bobby Howard has wins at Silver Springs, Selinsgrove, and Clinton County. 38 sprinters attempt to qualify for the Tuscarora 50 before the largest port crowd in some years. Bobby's in good hands. Port Royal regular Vince Snyder will have to sit out the big race as well after conceit problems. But it was Mike Wagner's thrill show during the 50 itself that took center stage. Mike launched over a slowing Dan Dietrich. Donnie Kreitz, number 69, and Dale Blaney, 94, composed the front row via a draw. Donnie had to struggle to hold off Blaney the entire 50 laps. But there's more to the story. Fred Raymer in the Al Hamilton number 77 has timed his run from the 12th starting spot perfectly. Lap 44. The Kreitz-Blaney duel for first becomes the race for second, as Fast Freddy powers under and past, both on the same lap, for his second Fat Port paycheck of the week, this one worth $8,500. Congratulations are also in order for Lance DeWeese for claiming another Port Royal Point Championship. The 30-car field for the September 30th Selinsgrove National Open includes Troy Camp and Dave Ely. Ely's racer finally stops after throttle problems. Feature winners during the season included Joey Boric, Jimmy Nace, and the first ever for Billy Sims. Scranton area rookie John Smith pays dues after a heat race steering loss. Congratulations to Selinsgrove point champ Alan Cole. Feature time. Lance DeWeese leads. Troy Camp flips. On the 31st of the 40 laps, we have a familiar sight of late. Fast Freddie Raymer making a winning move. Raymer slipped under DeWeese, opening a 2-second advantage at the finish. The victory paid the Hamilton team $5,000. We leave Selinsgrove with this spectacular as Tim Townsend disassembles his mini sprint. Joe Ilg, another of the multitude of sprint car drivers we owe to the micro sprints. Let's catch up with the Lincoln 358s. Flying Brian Seidel. A bad feature start for Joe Ilg in his 22, and a couple of others. As the field files into turn 3, watch for P.J. Chesson to hang it on the fence. Although it doesn't look like it here, Terry Leininger will be the 97 Lincoln Speedway 358 Sprint champion. Ron Kramer fails to clear a first turn tangle. September 13th, Reading's Dave Gable in the JMO Motorsports Red number 3 chose the season-ending limited sprint championship for his first career sprint car win. Dave led every lap, but had to hold off Dale Hammaker and Mike Lehman in the process, picking up a $1,000 winner's check.
You have been running strong all season long here at Lincoln. It's been little stuff.
Yeah, mainly the team's inexperience. Every setup we put on the car is more like a guess and see what happened and learn from it for the next time. And just try to keep smooth lines and try not to cause anybody any trouble. Like I said, first year learning and everything, I have a lot to learn.
Hello, Nikki Young, Thundercar graduate who pilots the number 17 Big Block Sprinter. Ouch! Kelly will fix him up. Later in the season, Nikki took a similar ride in turn 3. And while we're catching up with the Lincoln 410s, we must show you this colossal, starring Steve Siegel and a flaming Dale Blaney, which actually occurred during the final race of the '96 season. Fred Raymer had to charge from 12th starting spot almost every week here, yet he only got upside down on one occasion on his way to the point championship and 11 feature wins. Dan Dietrich. Bill Stein rolls after help from Nikki Young. Nikki Young again. Len Thompson. Lincoln regular Glendon Forsyth tips after tangling with Bill Bryant. A qualifying heat race wheelie by Steve Siegel and the South Scarpeta-owned pay dirt film number 59. September 20th, Siegel holds off the hot challenges of Jeff Shepard, number 4, for his first and only win of the season. It's Steve's 22nd career Lincoln win.
Yeah, I do most all the work on it. You know, Don does the motor work and stuff like that. But, you know, I mean, I help him over there, and we build some motors. I've been trying to, like, you know, throw some nuts or something into Raymer's motor, but they keep catching me, you know. Yeah, I'll probably drive one of these until I'm in a wheelchair. If I have to get a crane and put me in, you know. But I love it so much, but I'm going to get my boy out. He's going to race something, you know, but it's just I'm going to have to work harder so both of us can.
Resume hanging on for the Williams Grove 358s. Congratulations to Mike Lehman, the 97 champion, with wins in 6 of the 10 features conducted. Micro graduate Doug Esch flips in turn 1. Augusta wind catches Todd Reed in warm-ups before a storm washed out the show. Tom Leach makes it to turn 1. Now Doug Esch is over turn 4. Now Tom Leach is over turn 4, albeit serenely. Eric Miller threads the needle with poor results. Rusty Presley over the 4th turn round. Brian Buckwalter, Danny Jones, Jeremy Trout, Bill Albright, and Becca Anderson. Joe Whitcomb all alone. Tom Walton was shaken after launching off Todd Reed and clearing the fence. Danny Jones backwards in traffic. Becca Anderson personifies the inevitable. Rich Carnathan manages to clear the towering 4th turn rail. Bob Hagan nips Greg Libby before barrel rolling down the back chute. Terry Leininger puts a slider on Ron Kramer, which worked better than his slider on the wall. Colby Wilmer, another micro graduate. Of all the racers that cleared the West End at the Grove this season, none did with as much despair as Bill Albright. Kevin Drury in his first sprint car hot laps tangles with another number 9, driven by Bill Case Jr., before losing his steering and smashing the inside rail. September 12th, the Limited surprised us all when they spun off their 25-lap championship non-stop. Rookie Rick Kaler, number 69, led for 11 laps. Effort of veteran Ron Kramer in the Crimes Machine Shop X dives low, then high to make the winning pass on his way to collect $1,200. Bruce Ellis talks to the Shoe Fly Flyer.
What's happened with the car? We've got smoke and steam coming out of it. What's going on?
It's a little hot.
I should say, would this have been a problem had you had to go a couple more laps?
Oh, I don't know. I would have went until it broke.
Earlier in the season, Bob Beitelman, who has recovered from near-fatal burns suffered in a garage explosion less than 2 years ago, had a sure win go up in flames with just a couple of laps to go. Things will go much better for Bob on September 19th. P.J. Chesson leads until Dave Gable takes command down the back. The 10th lap. Walnut Port's Bob Beitelman in the Gregory Steakhouse number 81 finishes his winning charge from 7th starting spot. Welcome back, Bob.
I know how Dale Earnhardt feels. This is about the longest drought of 8 years I had. It's over a year, and I'll tell you, you start to get a lot of doubts. I just said to Kreitzy tonight, I says, Donnie, I think I'm too old. He says, no, he says, you're just not light enough, Beitelman.
September 26th. The 410s begin a dramatic feature at the Grove, with Judy Bates leading on the start. Mike Wagner is okay after getting clipped by Shawn Michaels and turning left on the straight.
Mike Wagner hard into the front stretch guardrail.
3 laps into the feature, Judy continues to lead as the field heads into turn 1. Notice back in turn 4, John Armstrong hits the fence and rolls, bringing out the red. A moment later, leader Bates spins in turn 3. After some discussion, officials ruled that since the red light was already on, Judy would restart up front. The restart. Len Thompson, number 10, gets the jump on Judy, but Judy roars back into the lead, only to become perhaps the first driver to spin out of the lead on 2 different occasions at the same spot on the same lap. This time things got ugly, especially for Rod George's racer, which was caught between Judy's and Fred Raymer's cars. Sean Keane also hit hard. Here's another view of the almost 3 high stack-up. Raymer would restart on the rear and finish second on a flat tire yet. Todd Schaefer soon had the lead and watched coolly as Jeff Shepard flubs this slide job. Todd couldn't lose tonight. He was under orders from the boss.
Yeah, I was talking to my daughter at the fence, and I walked about 20 feet away, and she hollered, "Hey, Dad," and I turned around, and she said, "Try and win." I said, "Okay, I'll try."
Well, you got to tell you want to bring her out here? We need an introduction. Who is this little girl?
This is Selin Schaefer.
Selin? Heard you told Daddy to try and win tonight. Is that right? She nodded.
Bob Bennett launches over New York's Jeff Spider Thomas. Chris Ace is experimenting with a carburetor setup. Some told us his was the most powerful car on the track, but results were lacking due to late season crashes, including this one during the National Open, which took place October 3rd and 4th. Becca Anderson's Grove 410 debut ends in warm-ups. Donnie Schatz over turn 4, as will be Joe Gertie after getting punted on a heat race start. Kevin Gobrecht's had a long season. Sammy Swindell's famous blue channel lock car started on the front of Friday's dash and led every lap. This gave him the pole for Friday night's feature, of which he led every lap. Of course, the second night format is even better, as Friday's winner, Slammin' Sammy, started on the pole in Saturday's dash without having to time trial or run a heat race. He led every lap. This gave him the pole for the National itself, of which he will lead every lap. Someone really needs to have a talk with Mark Kinzer, who threatened to pee on the parade at one point midway through the event. Fortunately, it was just a case of Sammy being concerned with lap traffic, and the biggest Grove crowd in 10 years, which paid over $20 a seat, did not have to be harassed by a confusing lead change. In fact, at the Open itself, fans have not had to tolerate a lead change for over 3 years and 120 laps. It is Slammin' Sammy's first Williams Grove National win.
You got the whole family in victory.
October 11th, Silver Spring. Smokey Snowbaker, number 80, works the lead from the 59 of Steve Wilbur. Smokey will pick up his 17th career win here tonight, but only after running most of the second half of the race side by side with the 29 of Jake Rodabaugh. Howie Locke's third place finish rewarded him with the point championship by a cat whisker over Larry Jackson. We'd like to acknowledge the feature wins of Pat Cannon, Jake Rodabaugh, Mark Zimmerman, Danny Hager, Carmen Perigo, John Stoner, Howie Locke, J.R. Fry, Chuck Landis, and Joe Reniker. The Super Sportsmen are still the most competitive division anywhere. October 19th, Susquehanna. Vince Vicari and the RSCA do tend to do things in a big way. The Cars Limited Sprint Nationals paid $10,000 to win. Jeremy Trout. Many big block stars found rides in a hurry. Billy Pouch in the Chesson number 76 will come back to win both the C and B mains from the rear. Bob Beitelman failed in his attempt to pull out of a crash landing, but he became a shoo-in for a provisional starting spot. The action switches to turn 4 with spills by Joe Whitcomb and Dan Richcrete. We'll take a moment to acknowledge Cars wins here this season by Bill Albright, Brian Brittingham, Jimmy Stitzel, and Mike Enders. In one of the most interesting races of the year, lap money was shared by Steve Siegel, number 50, Cars point champ Mike Lehman in his easy rolling 59, flipper Billy Pouch, and pole sitter Lance DeWeese, number 3. In the end, it was Pouch past Lehman for the win. 97 was another safe year on the track, but we lost Mike Irwin to Hodgkin's disease. Mike enjoyed 2 feature wins and hundreds of friends in his Super Sportsman career. It's sadly ironic to lose both Jan and Kenny this year. Their epic rivalry goes back 20 years, but seems like yesterday. Opperman never recovered from a head injury suffered while racing 16 years ago. Weld, like Irwin, was taken by cancer. We leave you this year with the touchy-feely 90s kinds of guys of an abbreviated stock car segment. Your cameramen have been Jeff Hall, Fred Plunk, Sports Plus Video, Todd Oakletree, Rusty Clark, Red Weiland, and Steve Failer. Churchill once said the best success can be found in moving from failure to failure with undiminished enthusiasm. Thanks to everyone who helped make this production possible, and thank you from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania.